Alright, for the next part of this video I'm going to model the center donut that's going to house the main bearing in the center. So to get started I need to draw two circles. The first one is going to have a diameter of 22 millimeters, that's the center. So a radius would be half of that, which would be 11. Enter. I'm going to find the center if I can here. There we go. And the outside diameter is a total of 30, so I'm going to half that, so it's 15. Now I'm going to draw a line so it's easier to find the center, and also I need a line that is straight perpendicular from the center out. I'm going to try to use the red axis. There we go. Now what I want to do is not just have a plain cylinder. When I push-pull this out, I want the edges to be smooth and rounded. So I'm actually going to create a shape that represents what it would look like if this was cut in half and I was looking at it from the side. So I want to have just a peripheral view of the shape of that. So I've determined right now that my total height I want for my fidget spinner is 10 millimeters. The bearing that goes inside of it is 7 millimeters, and my arm is also 7 millimeters. So if I'm going to go a total of 10, that gives me 1.5 millimeters on bottom and 1.5 millimeters on top. So I'm going to use that 1.5 millimeters to create a 1.5 millimeter rounded edge. So I'm going to start drawing a line that's straight up, and I want it to be on the blue axis, and then I want a measurement of 1.5 millimeters. Enter. That's going to give me a snap point there, 1.5 millimeters. Then I want to find the blue axis again. I could click on the up arrow to make sure I'm on the blue axis here, and then this is going to be the main portion of it that's flat, which would be 7 millimeters. Enter. And then I want to make one more line that is 1.5 millimeters on the blue axis here. Blue. 1.5. Enter. And I'm going to go ahead and make a 1.5 line segment here. And then this just needs to extend far enough to just needs to extend far enough towards the center, so right here will be fine. I'm going to create a line here. Actually, let's not do that yet. I'm going to create my curves first. So I know I need a curve that represents a 1.5 millimeter radius. So to do that, I'm just going to draw a circle with a 1.5 millimeter radius. And I want to draw it to where it's going to be on the same face as this. So the blue surface doesn't work. So I'm going to use my arrow keys to find the right one. So red would be perpendicular. That was the right arrow. And then the left arrow is the one that I want. So I want to draw my circles on this green axis. So I'm going to click to start it, and then make sure that I do 1.5. Enter. I'm going to draw one more, starting here, 1.5, enter. I hope these are 1.5. Let me draw a line. I need this line anyway, so I'm going to verify that this is 1.5 millimeters. If I can ever find the center here, hold down the shift key, see if that helps. Give me that center. There we go. Center. That's 1.5 millimeters. Good. I need one more here. Holding down the shift key now, see if that helps. I don't know why this is so hard to find the center. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to move these into place. So I'm going to use the selection tool to select these. And then I'm going to click on the move tool and then grab it right here on the end point that I just drew. Now I have a snap point over here at 1.5 millimeters. So there's one moved in place. I'm going to select this other one. Then click the move tool, grab it here, and I have another snap point right here. So I've just used some circles to create a 1.5 radius arc. Surprisingly, this is easier than using the arc tool, which I've tried to use several times. And now what I need to do is erase the geometry that I don't need to keep. And before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and close this shape. Clicking here, and I want this, the z-axis, so I'm going to click on the up arrow till it intersects here. Now I need to just get rid of a bunch of these lines that I no longer need. I don't need that line or that line. That line, get rid of that. Whoops, don't want to do that. Alright, so I can't get rid of that line. Let's go ahead and do Control Z. So let's go back one more step. There we go. So that I want to draw a line that divides this segment. And I want it to be on the Z. Right there. So now I should be able to delete these lines. Remember, I had the end of a line segment right there, so I was able to get rid of that line. So here we go. Whoops, there we go. Oh. Alright, now we got our shape. I can get rid of these lines. I'm actually going to keep this line, so I'm going to draw a circle first. I've learned to keep a center snap point with a line in the center so it's easier to find. And now I can get rid of the center of the donut. And I don't need this line either. So now I just need to use the follow me tool now that I have my shape. Select this surface and then start following along this line here till I get back to the beginning. This is a little bit glitchy. Hopefully it'll work out for me. You should see something that says end point. And even though it doesn't look like it's closed, when I click on it, it's going to close this thing. Oh, it didn't do what I said it was going to do. There's a little gap there. So let's undo that. I'm not sure how that happened. Let's try it again. For some reason it wants to leave a little gap there. Interesting, that didn't happen last time I did this, so we're going to pretend like that worked perfectly, even though it didn't. And let's see, I make this a component. And so that's how I made all of the little shapes that encompass the bearings. And what I'm going to do, I decided to modify my plan a little bit and use just a straight cylinder for the end arms here. So these are just going to be 10 millimeter tall cylinders without a beveled edge. So the next video will be putting all these components together and making sure that everything is a solid.